What's up, Dolph fans, and welcome back into the Baptist Health Studios for another edition of Dolphins HQ. And if you can't tell by now, we have a new theme this week. That's right, it's Rivalry Week, Dolphins and Jets with the pitch blue colors here in the studios for this breakdown of Aaron Brewer's film. The Dolphins center is off to another great start in 2025. I'm gonna go ahead and roll the tape right here. And the first thing I want you to watch on every single one of these clips is Aaron Brewer's feet. Every single one of these snaps is going to have different footwork for one of the best centers in the National Football League. This particular play right here, a lot of times on Dolphins outside zone concepts, you're going to have players getting width in their blocks. And on this play, you're going to see both right guard Keon Smith and right tackle Austin Jackson in this game seal the front side of this play. And that's going to require Aaron Brewer to kind of sneak through a tight gap. And this play only goes for a couple of yards, but you're going to see on any given play, one player can pop even if the whole play doesn't work for a big game. But Aaron Brewer on this play, he's going to have to get his way through this tight gap right here and climb to the second level. And typically that first foot is supposed to get width and go this way, but he has to kind of sneak inside of this, contort his body, and find his way through the A gap, climb to this linebacker, and watch the way he finishes his block. Hands on chest, drive him out of the play, finish on top of the player onto the ground. Every time you can put a player on the ground, it requires that player to get back up and exert energy. That's how you wear on a team throughout the course of a game in the running game. Next play here, back into Indianapolis from week one. Aaron Brewer, once again, in the pivot, getting width on a wide run here from Malik Washington. Going to go ahead and watch the feet off the top here once more. Roll the play. Here comes Malik in motion. Here goes Brewer taking a kind of backward step right here as he gets width and depth into his drop right here off the line of scrimmage. Go ahead and run this thing back and watch him do this once again. You're going to get another combination block right here with Smith and Jackson. Good blocks here. And once again, Brewer has to find his way through a tight gap. And watch the way he gains distance with that first step. See how he's pulling that foot back out and getting width right here to put himself in position to make this run and then show off one of the NFL's all-time best 10 splits for any offensive lineman of all time. 169. Brewer ran 10 yards in at the combine back when he was coming out of college. That was 99th percentile for all offensive linemen all time. Brewer can get into those gaps with speed and quickness and then hit the second level blocker in control right in the chest plate. Boom, that's a strike in the middle of the plate right there. Look at that connection. Drive him from the 38-yard line all the way back to the 45-yard line. And once again, on top of him on the ground. Put the player on the ground. That's what you want to do as an offensive lineman. Let's go ahead and fast forward here to week 3 against the Buffalo Bills. And this is a screen play where once again, Brewer's feet, watch the way he gets out into space right here, is going to go ahead and get width into the screen game and hit another key block in open space right here. Devon Achane, make the cutback. Brewer sends him out to Nyack, New York, all the way across the state right there with that block. Off the snap, just look at how quick he gets out of the blocks. I mean, he's moving faster than anybody else on the entire field right here. Get that width. You can't call these types of plays unless you have a center that can get out to the numbers just as fast as your speedy running back there, Devon Achane. So Aaron Brewer, speed, power, strength, everything you want to see from this player. And this is probably my favorite clip of the entire foursome here that we have. Let's go ahead and roll it here against the Buffalo Bills once again. It's a second level block for Aaron Brewer, but I want you to watch, this is the Dolphins' bread and butter outside zone. Watch every single player take the same step in the same direction right here. But I want you to watch the hand strike right here of the one shade, the one technique, the defensive tackle on the backside of Aaron Brewer. That's a tough ask for rookie Jonas Savaitinaya to make this reach off the line of scrimmage because this player has him outflanked to this gap. He's just closer to the football. But what Brewer has to do here is stay connected and help make this block easier for Jonas Savaitinaya. So watch that arm go out and look at that placement right on the shoulder and watch the way this impacts 93. You're going to see the back of his jersey right here. That's because of that push from Brewer, who stays connected all the way through this climb to the second level of the line of scrimmage right here. And then another big block downfield where, once again, what does he do? He puts the guy on the ground. Kind of out of frame right there, but you can see it happening on the left side of your screen right here. He's going to finish that block all the way to the ground. So the combination, staying attached until Jonah can make that attachment himself and cross the face of that one technique, that's really good helping your teammate out and then going and making your assignment for a big block for Aaron Brewer. So he has all the skills in the world, the quick feet, the get out of the blocks, the power, the connectivity, staying on balance. Aaron Brewer has been one of the best centers in the National Football League through 3 games for your Miami Dolphins. For this week's Opponent Spotlight, brought to you by Govee, the man on the call Monday night from Miami Gardens, Dan Orlovsky. Dan, thank you for your time. And look, Dan, I see the drip on NFL Live. You can throw a fit together. So I'm curious, can I get a fit check from you on these Dolphins pitch blue uniforms that we're going to see under the primetime lights?
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, the what you see on TV is not me. That is my wife. If it was up to me, I would wear sweatpants every day. The uniforms that are going around right now in the NFL are pretty insane. I'm sure Monday night the Dolphins they'll be looking good.
I think the coolest thing about the rivalry element of this series of these uniforms, like I grew up a fan of the Dolphins, so Jets Week to me always means a little bit more something special, and I'm sure you're fired up to call this game as well. And let's just start with the initial thoughts on the matchup of the rivalry here. What intrigues you most about Dolphins and Jets from a game perspective, and also the rivalry Dolphins and Jets?
So I'm from Connecticut. I grew up in Connecticut, and I didn't really have a favorite NFL team as a kid. But obviously, Jets games were on a constant basis. So I remember a lot of the rivalry games and some of the Marino battles, the fake spike, all So like I remember a lot of those. So it's a cool rivalry, and I think for both teams, it kind of comes at a good time. Just being candid, from the Jets perspective, you're sitting there, it's a rebuild and it's a restart. And you could sit there, and a lot of times this is wordplay. They're two plays away from being 2-1. Now they're 0-3, but for a team that's rebuilding and restarting and trying to reestablish and finally do it well, there's a lot that you can point to and say, "Hey, we're closer than the record kind of indicates, but we have to get over that hump." For the Dolphins, it comes at a good time because week one was poor, and unexpectedly, and then week two encouraged, but didn't make the play or two at the end, but played cleaner. And then week three, you go on the road versus one of the best teams, and you're a snap or two away from really kind of feeling like you're in it. And there's a reality of what this league is, and they're trying to figure out ways to get the defense that maybe doesn't have a ton of household names and or stars to play cleaner and play better. And they're trying to get their stars on offense to play like stars on a consistent basis.
I'm curious when you put the tape on for this Dolphins offense, what did you see in terms of them kind of turning that corner from the first 5 quarters of the season to the last now 7 quarters where the offense is kind of cranking here?
The run game has been improved in the last 2 weeks. I still don't think it's impactful enough when it comes to, okay, we're going to line up in these certain situational moments, and we want to and can run the football in between the tackles, and a little bit of a at the defense mentality. They're still not willing and or capable of doing that enough. But some of the creativity and the ways that they can get certain touches reasserted itself. I would tell you in relation to Tua, and I think everyone knows how highly I think of Tua, how much I've championed Tua. I saw in the last 2 weeks Tua look more like the Tua that we know. They obviously have to get the ball more vertical down the field, and hit some of those in time shots more without forcing the football. So there's good. It's been improved in the last 2 weeks. I think you have to continue to build off that.
You were one of the first guys back in Tua's rookie year where I'd watch those clips you put on Twitter, and it was like, look at the anticipation before the guy even sinks his hips into the route, the ball's on him coming out of the break, and it's like you can't defend that when it's when it's on point the way it has been for so long for Tua. But yeah, I see the same things where it's like it's the first down stuff maybe isn't quite there the way it was, and then you have this creativity on third down against the Bills to extend those drives and be really good on third down, 10 for 15 in that game. So I guess the question I'll ask you, Dan, is, someone that's seen the field from that perspective, like how challenging is it to have that element of your game where you see things with that anticipation, and then if maybe it kind of, not to say that you lose it, but it regresses a little bit, like what's the mindset in terms of trying to get back to that place?
I used to have coaches. One of the things that stood with me, and obviously two is 4,000 times better than I ever was, but you got to see it, trust it, and rip it. And, he's got this 15 years of visual repetition. I think just getting back to that confident belief in what you're seeing is real and what Mike's calling you can trust, and having a couple of those go down early will be a big deal.
Yeah, I think that's what Dolphins fans can be looking forward to for the next 14 games here, starting on Monday night when Dolphins and Jets teed up for ESPN's kickoff at 7:15. And Dan, going back to that Buffalo game once again, the narrative throughout the game on the broadcast, I saw it on media coverage after the game, was how the Dolphins didn't quit in a spot that some folks thought maybe they would and fought all the way to the end of the game. I'm curious how you think that resolve that they showed could benefit them not just on Monday night, but for the rest of the 2025 season.
This next 5 weeks is huge, because we're doing our production call for the game, and it's like, well, where's the silver lining, the hope, and whatnot? It's like your next 5 weeks, because you sit there and go, they all feel winnable. They do. If you play good football, obviously, I think the Chargers in there, and that's a big challenge or a big task. But there's some teams that you sit there and go, if they play their best, you can beat them, type of thing. And so I think that's a really big deal. And I'm surprised with where they are, honestly. We had them 2 years ago for a couple times, and every time you walk away from conversations with Mike and Tua and just the team, you're like, man, this feels good. This feels right. This feels like they're doing it the right way. And it's obviously been a struggle since the last time we were down there, and that's surprising. But I'm certainly hoping we get a great one Monday night, and for their sake, they can turn things around.
One of my favorite things you do, Dan, again, is when you get up on that big board, NFL Live, you give us the tape and you break things down in a way that, again, from that quarterback's perspective, is very helpful for fans to learn the game. So when you plug in the Dolphins and Jets tape this week, what are some of the matchups that you think could help decide this game, some that you're excited to watch? Just kind of take us through what the tape has shown you Dolphins and Jets week.
Yeah, so the Dolphins offensively, I think that you can attack this secondary down the field and specifically in the middle of the field. I think that there's some people matchup wise that the Dolphins should and can take advantage of in the secondary. I'd also say that if you just watch the Jets tape defensively and you give them some different looks, you're going to get opportunities for blown coverage. It's happened all 3 weeks, multiple times each game. And so for an offense with McDaniel that has had success with different formations and motions, I think utilizing some of the unique, maybe last second wide receiver motions to change a formation or numbers is going to be a huge deal on Monday night. I think defensively for the Dolphins, it's going to be a game where, one, the physical commitment from your front seven has got to be a big deal. The Jets are a physical unit. One of the things that has really hurt Miami defensively is just leveraging the run. And that's all 11. It's not necessarily gap sound, like I got the area between the guard and the center. It's like that linebacker keeping leverage, that safety support keeping leverage. The ball's gotten outside way too much because they've collapsed in the wrong area or the wrong way. And if I'm the Jets, I'm gonna challenge that. I'm gonna see if you fix that. And so I think those, from Miami's perspective, those are things that are gonna be a big deal.
I'll close with this, Dan, and we do this every week on the Opponent Spotlight series. The Dolphins can win this game if, and then you can fill in the blank.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins could win this game if on early downs they're aggressive throwing the football. I think this is a game that on first down, it's getting back to your play action roots, which they have not displayed this year. Early first and second down, be aggressive throwing the football, challenging this secondary down the field, using some motion to gain some advantage. And then also they've got to tackle incredibly well and not have poor leverage on the football defensively. And then you got to cover Garrett Wilson. Like if Garrett has a big game, that's a hurting you. You have to make in the pass game somebody other than Garrett in this Jets offense have a big night in the air.
He is Dan Orlovsky. You can catch him on NFL Live weekdays at 4 p.m. on ESPN. He's at Dan Orlovsky7 on Twitter. And, of course, he'll be alongside Chris Fowler, Louis Riddick, and Peter Schrager on the call Monday night at 7:15 here in Miami Gardens on ESPN. Dan, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
You got it, bud. Thank you.
That's going to do it for us here for this episode of Dolphins HQ from the Baptist Health Studios. Don't forget to check out the Draft Time podcast, hosted by yours truly, available 5 days per week wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to the Dolphins YouTube channel for new episodes of Mic'd Up, Coach McDaniel breakdowns, media availabilities, and Under the Sun. We'll be back next week to get you ready for Week 5 in Carolina against Bryce Young and the Panthers. Enjoy Monday Night Football against the Jets, and we'll see you soon.